Alright guys, it's your favorite Brood War caster, Fitz here, and you guys are tuning into iCup TV. It is April 11th here at 11:21 p.m. local my time. But yeah, you guys are tuning into season 20 week 1 Division B2 versus Winds of War versus wOk. So spawning in the top left, it will be our orange Zerg. It will be blue. Our wOk's blue, but he's no longer blue. He's our orange Zerg. And the map will be Fighting Spirit, if you guys have not noticed. And it is a 2v2. And spawning, also competing for wOk, it will be Seriosity's wOk. Yeah, it's pretty much how it goes, but down for there. Now, spawning in the top left, it'll be the white Zerg competing for Winds of War. It will be Zima, because it's going to be awesome. And spawning in the bottom left, it will be our Teal Terran Catwoman, or Winds of War's Catwoman. So this will make Series 1 for this, guys. Tune if you guys want to know a little extra of me ranting on about something about a little more like stuff regarding iCup TV, just look at towards the end of the cast, and I'll just tell you all about those fancy things I won't do in the middle of the cast. But I'll point that out right now. So it looks like we're seeing double 9 pool, very similar to what we've seen in a lot of the other 2v2s I've casted, where they both kind of, like, just the top part kind of just seems like a normal ZVZ, but we will be seeing standard 9 pool action coming up for both players right about there. So, and Overlords will be crossing the paths, like, literally at the same time, to be completely honest. But while that's happening, the map is Fighting Spirit, and nothing really special about this map that really needs to be pointed out for 2v2. The only thing just to note that it isn't cross-positioned for both of your teammates, meaning that wOk has the left side, while Winds of War has the right side. So, for example, that would be very, very problematic for players trying to help out their teammate if they're on the other side of the map, on that far positioning. But I'll be interested what. A lot of times Zerg tends to be very, very far behind in 2v2 of what I've noticed. They like to do a lot of the aggression. And like what I've been saying in the 1v1 cast, what a lot of the time what happens is, you know, doing that non-stop aggression kind of puts you back, but it delays tech for your opponent for sure. So what tends to be the happen, I think, at least with the Zerg, is that they continue to produce units just to continue aggression while they hurt their own economy, while their player, techs up, Protoss can do their own thing. But we will be seeing a 2-gate coming out of Seriosity here, so that's going to be pretty interesting. We'll be able to do enough damage. Right now, Terran looks like, ooh, doing a 2-rack pressure, actually. Interesting enough, especially against, I don't know how well it's going to do, but Lings will stop that SCV from scouting. And 2v2 is a very, very interesting matchup, but these Lings on Lings we'll have to see right here. Are we going to be seeing any additional tech? It doesn't look like that. We're going to see more Lings coming out of, looks like both players, except for that we're going to have a Sunken coming out of Zima's base right there. Is it Zima or Zimu? Zima, yeah, Zima. And just trying to get the best arc as he can. He's going to be engaging here, but Zima is just a better arc for that engagement right there. And not Seriosity, but Blue will have to push back out there. And is he just gonna fodder these? He does have a Zealot here, but there's just not gonna be enough right here. And he's gonna get completely surrounded. And Seriosity will lose that Zealot if he's not careful though. And it looks like, ooh, just wants to be careful. He just doesn't lose that too bad. And at the same time, we're gonna be seeing pinging coming over here for whatever reason. But it looks like Team wOk is gonna be putting on the aggression towards Zima right here. Will be enough damage to break down Zima. I don't think it will, just due to melee units, and if he gets up the Sunken right there, these Lings can, I believe that Sunken will be in range of this ramp, which, if you guys are wondering what that does, ooh, are we going to have another engagement here? What that pretty much does is that the Lings can pretty much stand up here all day, while that's doing, that's 40 damage per hit against these Zealots. These aren't the most tanky buildings, but they do a good amount of DPS, especially if they're not being lying around. But 2 Marines have popped out so far. 4 Catwoman will be doing what they were. So that is a lot of Lings though, but will there be enough Zealots to deal with this? They do not have +1, keep in mind. And it looks like these will get completely surrounded and taken out right here. No, actually, surprisingly, wOk has actually been able to continue this aggression still with that probe. Interesting enough. Is he going to be setting up a proxy? Finally getting the 4-minute and 30-second Cyber Core and getting up 4. So you're going to see a lot of 1-base play in 2v2 of what I've seen. Ooh, we're going to be seeing a bio push actually coming out of Catwoman, which you rarely see, especially against something with Protoss in it. It's just so easily able to get countered by. The only thing that you can really do against bio with Protoss early games, if you do like a juke move and you go early stim with medics, that will tend to do some damage. I've done that in 1v1s occasionally, but you could find a timing. But Marines, you know, they will die. I mean, stimming does a huge amount of damage to the Protoss army, but you have to keep in mind that all they have to do is attack the Marines, and that DPS is completely damage. It doesn't even matter if you have 3 medics on a. Ooh, but he will be stimming here, and it looks like Seriosity's in a little bit of trouble. We're gonna have to see reinforcements coming out of Blue here. Will he be able to send off enough reinforcements? He only has 4 lings at the time. He might have been droning. No, he was going up to layer tech, but I think he'll be okay. He does have quite a bit of zealots here, and that is only 4 Marines right there. He will be sitting back though, trying to do as much damage as he possibly can, but those Marines should be able to make it out of there alive. But link speed has completed though, and it looks like there might just be AI blocking right there, and we'll ultimately lose this small platoon of Marines. But reinforcements have arrived though. We'll be able to do enough damage. They are target firing the zealots right here, and this is what I mean. They do so much damage against for this early game aggression, especially without those dragoons there to help for sure. But and the problem was he wasn't those links were, you know, that coverage right there to deal with, so they weren't going to get target fired by themselves, because a zealot I believe can like two hit a Marine, I believe, or like something like crazy like that. But finally, Seriosity does lose all of his zealots here, and it looks like we're going to go into double goon production with range coming out of Seriosity. Now, Catwoman is going off a 3 racks pressure, oddly enough. This is kind of what I like to do, actually, off of 1 base. You know, in my PV, in my TV, everything, I always love to go bio, but I've been playing this a bit more. But the Marines can still do a good amount of damage, though. I mean, they are pretty fragile units, though, keep in mind. But that is a lot of medics right there, and they should be able to heal up his units fairly effectively. He's just not at a critical mass of Dragoons right here. He needs to be by that cannon right now to deal with this, and there's really no way for Blue to help reinforce this. Blue has been, you know, he's just sitting off of 2 base. Like I was saying, this is like what you see in ZVZ, you know, 1 base muta style, and 3 gate goon, that is all in for sure at 1v1 standards, but I guess it might just be standard because of the sheer amount of like pressure. But now this is the time where he can go in for the kill right here. He'll be able to get a complete surround. I don't know exactly what Catwoman was actually thinking about, trying to actually go outside. I mean, this is where the Lings can get around and get a better position here, but it looks like he doesn't want to lose all the Marines anyway, as the Lings would be coming from the rear, and Dragoons would eventually outrange the Marines regardless, and he would have the ramp to deal with that as well. So, and we will be seeing +1 coming out of who's the tyrant? Catwoman. I'm just trying to remember. I literally need my piece of paper that has all the names on it, because you guys get the leisure of having that the team thing over here, but I don't have that when I'm actually casting, so somewhat problematic. I'm also casting on my bigger monitor, so this is actually much more interesting, because instead of cramming on like a 14-inch computer monitor, it's actually much easier to see stuff, and it's nice to see that. But and ooh, he might lose his Dragoon right here, and he has nothing back at home. He only has 1 or 2 cannons on the mineral line here, and that Island White will probably go down here. At the same time, though, Team Walk will be putting on some aggression to the base of Zima here, but will be able to do enough damage. This bio army is still going to be in the main base of Seriosity, keep in mind, so it might be a base trade. No, it looks like Seriosity will be pushing back his main forces back to the bottom left, which is the southwest base. That is his main right here. And the benefit to what I have to say, what I like Catwoman's doing, he's getting by the gateways, not going for the mineral line per se, but he's just killing off these, you know, these Dragoons that are popping right there, which is, you know, a nice victory in his own right here. I mean, this bio army is completely disposable. He's off at 3 racks. He could be in the position where he could want to expand here, as he does have quite a bit of minerals for it. But these Lings are here to help that out, so thankfully to Blue there. Blue was able to help out Seriosity pretty significantly. But like I was saying, though, I mean, we're saying pretty much all in right here. We're not really seeing much tech coming out of the Zerg here. I mean, we saw Muta, we see Lair, but I mean, it was, you know, not to say significantly delayed, but we're not seeing any kind of expansion coming down. Very much like ZVZ, very much, and they're all speaking. Oh, by the way, Catwoman and Zima are Polish, while Blue is Chilean, and Seriosity is the United States. So That's pretty cool, but will our United States Buddy Beal do enough damage here? That is going to be a lot of Marines there, and Muta against Marines, that many Marines is just not going to be doing too much right there, and they believe we'll have +1 eventually coming in. When is that +1 going to be finishing? Right now, actually. Very nice timing for that. Was it intentional? I don't think so, but lucky for that anyway, and these do not have +1 armor, keep in mind, so Marines will do a ton of damage to that. And that's why you see a lot of times in 1v1 TVZs, why a lot of time you won't see Marines used as much, is just because when players start getting the armor upgrades, I mean, Marines, keep in mind, that will be +3 armor compared to, now they're going back to 6 damage, while their +1, when their +1 attack really is negated at that point. And their armor isn't really important because they're really fragile, so that's a lot of time. So, Marines are really good early game when you don't get these, like, armor upgrades, but because Protoss will oftentimes get +1 attack, but we're actually going to be seeing +1 armor to compensate for the Marines there, especially with +1, because they will start shelling away. I mean, not to say that Dragoons aren't good on the counter to these Marines, but you know, when you have Stim in there, it's going to do a lot of damage in both Zergs. I'm sorry that I'm not paying much attention to these guys, but to be completely honest, they're just building Muta. Like, that's really all they're doing. We're seeing a Macro Hatch coming out of blue right there at the same time right there, and it looks like we're going to be seeing Catwoman be going for it. Will there be enough though? Also, at the same time, he'll have a couple of Muta coming from his partner, which will be Zima, but Muta aren't really the best option in this matchup, I don't think. Just Muta, Muta versus Marines isn't a good idea. Muta against Dragoons isn't the best idea, but we're just seeing completely that we're just seeing Winds of War. It's completely just decimating so far this base right here, and he's only off. I'm just looking at the army right now. He's only at 3 Dragoons right here. We're seeing 61 supply coming out of Catwoman. We're seeing, what is this guy? We're looking at 25 supply coming out of Seriosity right now. No, out of blue right here. And then I'm trying to actually do this by the players right here. So going to wOk. wOk has 40 supply for their Protoss, and for their Zerg is at 28 supply compared to compared to Catwoman, who's at 67 supply off of 2 base, and his partner who's at 30 supply. So both Zergs are, you know, fairly equivalent. I mean, if they're both to go on the engagement, for sure Zima is going to win, but that's not necessarily going to happen right here. But we're going to be seeing that blue will be reinforcing out Seriosity here, and the reason for that is, well, not because, I mean, for one, he's not arrogant, he's like, I can go do this by myself, but the problem with 2v2 is, and why you see a lot of early game aggression builds, but it looks like we're going to be seeing this whole bio-army finally getting cleaned up, finally coming out of Seriosity, finally from the reinforcements that helped him out by his teammate Blue. But like I was saying, 2v2, there's a scenario when players will often go a double, like 9 pool, for example, and these medics are not dying right here. They're finally exploding into the little things. I mean, like, they literally blow up. I mean, how does a body split into 5 pieces? Let's be honest here, people. But, oh my god. That's a lot of bio with +1. Are we getting more upgrades? We're getting +1 armor. And these will have +1 armor, so that means that they won't be doing nearly as much damage right here. Interestingly enough, though, I'm surprised he doesn't go for the attack on blue here. He's not really good. He doesn't really have much. I mean, Marines, Stim Marines, I mean, keep in mind, I mean, Muta do good against Marines, but I mean, when you have this many Marines, when they can all Stim right here, it's gonna be hard. Also, you know, at this position, a nice strategic positioning for Catwoman to go in for this for attacking right here, because now looking at the time that Blue has to, you know, bring over all of his forces here, it's gonna take a while, and he's by the ramp here, so it's gonna be very, very hard to get up that ramp for sure. And we're seeing that Zima has a higher Muta count, and the Marines are now by the gateways, and things are looking pretty grim right now for wOk Clan. Seriosity has left the game. GG coming out of Zima, and it looks like Winds of War has successfully won this one game. Oddly enough, so like I was saying, that's when you lose one player, you can't. Well, what I was getting at is when you lose a player, it's very, very difficult to come back from. Just because, I mean, you're like what you see, what we saw in this was a TZ versus a ZP. Most of the time, Protoss is going to try to want to tech up. Well, Terran's going to want to check up. Terran was able in a scenario where he had so much map control for that. So I just think there was a couple things. I mean, a 2v2 is my best analytical game type, but I'm trying my best to come up to some conclusions, like because I know 2v2 isn't nearly as cast as much as 1v1s, and my 1v1 isn't even that great either. But I'm just trying my best to analyze this. If a 2v2 player in the comments feel free to disagree with me, that is totally fine. But I think Fighting Spirit, the map that was played on, I don't think it's a great 2v2 map. For one, you're so far away from your opponent. It's so prone to all in. I mean, the rush distance is very, very long, but it's so prone to all-ins and gank attacks onto one person. It's near impossible to help reinforce it. Now, again, I mean, there's the idea of map control, but when your opponent's ahead on Fighting Spirit, it's super hard. It's harder to come back from like a regular 2v2 map where you might be closer or you're doing the share basing. I've seen a couple share base maps. They're not nearly as common in 2v2, but so let's just say that the rush isn't nearly as long, and they have map control. So hey, you don't know that they're attacking you, but you see they're at your base, at your ally's base, so you gotta send units down there. Now, by the time you get down there, not that half their base won't be destroyed. In Fighting Spirit, that happens. That's what we saw. Also, the fact maybe having one ramp is a little annoying for Zerg to deal with, especially to help reinforce it. Probably more favorite for Protoss and at least Terran to deal with that. But again, it's just, I feel like the map isn't the best, and I don't think it was lack of communication. I think it was just how huge the map was. And you know, they lost. I mean, like, out of all honesty, what happens in a StarCraft game is one player gets map control. Both players can't have map control. It just doesn't happen. I mean, it can fluctuate from who has it. But when you see such a lead coming out of Catwoman, and you can even see the scores of this gal or guy from Poland, they have talent. They know what to do. They stuck a lead somehow, but they were able to get away with that. Bio was an interesting thing, and it was very nice to see it. I mean, when you have that far of a lead, when you're at like a 30 supply lead, 40 supply, or maybe even like 50 by the end of the game, that's gonna be hard to break through unless you get both allies to go attack. But at the same time, though, you have, you know, Zima that wasn't nearly as active in the game, I think. I mean, keep in mind that he's not going to have a huge army. He's just going in to help reinforce. I mean, he was there, and he could have done muta harass if they left their base. So it's really, really hard to figure out when you're going to be moving out. And I think they just need to figure out when they need to attack and do some damage. Because what we saw, Zima could have potentially died by the time when Blue in Seriosity. Now, this was a time where Catwoman was in Seriosity's base, keep in mind. And that would have looked very different if Blue and Seriosity did push up that ramp of Zima's base. Now, there was, you know, in defense of Zima, there was, you know, 2 or 3 sunk into with a spore. Was there enough to break through that? I think there was more than enough to break through it. Would they have lost maybe not the most cost-effective trade? Maybe. But to the point where you can critically hammer against your opponent, that's something that's really, really nice to do. And I think that would have been a very, very nice blow. But I mean, the flip side of that argument, though, like, because I don't want to sound like I know everything. The flip side of that is Zerg is not nearly as important in the mid game of this, because they're at like 30-40 supply compared to the 90 supply of the Terran. So what we saw here is that the huge supply lead for Team wOk, which was the Protoss, you know, was getting up to like 40 or 60 supply. I mean, 50 or 60 supply. And they get knocked out. There's no way the Zerg can come back because they have like 30 and they've been one basing this entire game. That's not how Zerg operates. To tech up and to operate efficiently. So that's when you kind of kill off that main player, it's very hard to come back from. Not to say that if Zima did die, not to say there wouldn't be an instant GG. That might be another thing there as well. But now, I think that's pretty much all I can say. There's not one thing that either player did wrong. It's just communication. The map was kind of bad, and it's just really hard to get the map control. Get the map control is probably the one thing I'd say for the fifth tip of the game for Team wOk right here. Now, like I was saying before the cast, I was just wanted to quickly just talk about iCup. Now, just a couple new updates. One, No Name is back. iCup No Name. He I know he doesn't have the greatest. I mean, I've read a comment that say like, "Oh, you ruined Brood War." I have a playlist for his videos. He has like 4 or 5 up. Now, keep in mind this guy speaks English as a second language. He has yet to figure out the technical difficulties of his audio, which I'm trying to fix manually, but it's just really hard, and I'm so sick of it. I'm just telling him just to go fix it himself. But he is another caster. He's another caster supporting Brood War scene, you know, the dying Brood War scene, whatever you want to say, or the current Brood War scene as it stands. You know, give him some love. I mean, he's not. I don't say he's a bad caster. He's just not up to. I don't say up to par with me, because you guys may not like me, for example, but the fact of the matter is that he has a different tone. He has a different way of casting. Like a lot of other casters tend to. I'm very enthusiastic. I'm very loud. I very like to get into the game. Other casters do that, but they're not, you know, super up and antsy, you know, screaming at, you know, 12:45 at 11:45 at night. But the fact of the matter is that that's what it is. So he's back. He's gonna be doing, what is, I forget. I'm sorry, I don't know. I gave him a team that he'll be doing 1 because he's not as consistent as me. I'm doing 3 from a Division A, Division B1, Division B2, and he's doing 1, and I think it might have been from Division B, I think, or maybe Division A. I'm not quite sure, but. So he's having that. I actually will upload that with one of these videos, as I have the video, and that will be fun. But I'm just letting you guys know that he is back. So we're gonna have 2 casters on the channel. My videos are gonna be more dominant in not view count, but just like the way I upload them. I mean, I have nearly 130 uploads compared to like the 5 that he has. I upload them regardless, but. So I just want to let you know. Now, for my schedule for this week, I think it might help you guys. I mean, if you're interested. It also helps me to figure out what I'm recording. Today's Saturday. Let's check it. Saturday the 11th. So, my work schedule just came in today. So, I'm working tomorrow, which I already knew about. Tomorrow, Sunday, and Friday. So, if that does not subject to change, that is subject to change. Monday's an option. Tuesday. Wednesday, Thursday is an option. Friday might be an option, depending on what I decide to do after work. But and also now Monday, Wednesday, Thursday might change too, just due to homework load. But my logic is I just handed in 2 English papers. So I mean I'll have daily English homework, but not to the point. The fact of the matter is that I've just handed in a whole bunch of stuff. I've done a lot of blood tests, so I shouldn't have a ton of content coming in. So I should have a ton of homework to do. I don't have a lot of projects to do. So the rest of the year's winding down, I guess, but it's also winding up because you have to study for finals, blah 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 blah. But we haven't gotten the final stage, and not that I normally study for them much anyway. But so that's I would expect for this. I mean, again as well. If you guys have just continue to watch this, I'm sorry for ranting, but like that's why I'm putting at the end of the video. What the Winds of War versus wOk Week 1. There's only 3 series out of like 5. They're just not. The replays are not there. So to keep that in mind for you guys, this series isn't going to take very long to cast. So all I have to, I mean, it's going to be I think like 7 or 8 VODs, not even. So that will complete this series. Then I go into week 2. So week 2 should be done by this week. I do have a pretty open week for that. Now. If I get the time to render and do all that extra stuff, because what I tend to do is I tend to do recording, then post-production a day or 2 after, and then upload that. Post-production is the editing, and then the editing, I don't know why, but Sony Vegas, like 11 I use, or whatever the hell I use, but it takes like a solid like hour and a half to go render like a 20-minute VOD, and I'm like, are you like what do you do? Like you just play it. Xbox like, yo, what I'm gonna record everything at once. I guess it's for the quality. I guess I get 720p for that reason, but regardless, I do it for you guys. I do it, you know, because a lot of what I've noticed with a lot of Brood War videos is a lot of them aren't. The overlays are kind of crappy, and when you the problem what I see, the reason why there's a high definition video is when you keep in mind that Brood War is at a 640 by 480 resolution. Now, when you upload that at a 480p, that's beyond what the resolution of the actual game is. But for whatever reason, the video bitrate isn't nearly as high. So what ends up happening is that the video, you actually decrease the quality a tiny bit. So what, to compensate for that, you record at 720p. Those gives you the overlay. If you have someone that's recording it, watching at 720p, all the overlays look nice. But Brood War would look like what it looked like on your actual screen when you're playing. Which is why, unlike when you're watching pretty much any other Brood War video. But regardless of the fact that there's that. There's pretty much, I've ranted on for way too long. We're going on to game number 2, and Winds of War has successfully won this so far. So, thanks for watching, guys, on iCup TV. I'll be back. The next video shouldn't be nearly as long. But, alright, guys, thanks for watching. Peace.